are live. Sure. All right. So, like I was saying, I'm sorry, I'm trying to post that I'm live. Okay. So, like I was saying, so the point of this conversation is to create awareness about the excellent things that people are doing in the industry. And I have three categories in my head that I am targeting as the audience. So, consumers, brands, and regulatory bodies. And today, our first subtopic is going to be on formulating for people of color. And I wanted to start with this because I think the foundation for the establishment of beauty brands is knowing who our target market is. And obviously, brands that are owned by Africans are created for Africans, and Africans are people of color. But there also has to be an understanding of who we're actually creating for. Like, why are we colored? Why is our skin colored? And what do we actually need to do to make sure that we create excellent products and excellent experiences for our consumers? And so I'm going to be having that conversation with Mae. She is a cosmetic engineer, and she's also a lead research and development formulation specialist at Inveo Labs. And she also has an amazing beauty brand called Sanct Skin. And I wanted her to be the first person to have this conversation with because I reached out to her to talk about the article that I mentioned earlier. And when she sent her response, I was like, oh my gosh, like it was not face to face. I was reading what she was writing, and I could just sense how much passion she has and how enthusiastic she was about beauty and beauty industry. And so I was like, of course she has to be the first person to have this conversation with, and thankfully she agreed, and she'll be with us in a few minutes. So we're just going to wait for her to join. Okay, sorry, we'll just need to wait for a few more minutes. Okay, before she joined, so I was not going to share this before, but let me just talk about why I am passionate about the African beauty industry. So I've always loved beauty, skincare, and all those things since I was 16. And when I was 16, I was trying out a lot of DIYs and a lot of products, right? And then the first African brand, it was a Nigerian brand that, okay, she's here. I guess she's running from Inveo. Hi, Inka. Okay, so I was saying that the first African brand that I tried was Arami Essentials. And I think before I tried it, I did not realize that we could actually make our own products as Africans. I always thought that we had to wait for, hi, I always thought that we had to wait for, Americans to come and help us, like with Nivea and Vaseline. And it's not like I hate them. So I did not realize that we could actually make our own products. It was like a shock when I saw the products, and they were so good. And I was like, wow, what other products have we made? And how can we make more so that we're not dependent on the Western culture to help us take care of our own skin? And that was how everything started. And I wanted to make my own brand too. But I was then it transitioned into caring about how much development is happening in the larger industry. And so we're starting little by little with conversations like this. And I hope that it awakens desires in people, not just me, so that hello, thank you guys. So how is everybody? We have to wait for her, and I'm trying to. Hi everybody. Yinka, how are you? Maiwa, how are you? Thank you all for joining. Please just give us a few minutes. Oh, okay. Okay. So I said that the first brand I tried was Arami. And I started this journey of trying out different brands. Hi, and so I started the journey of trying out different brands. I called it my beauty journey. And so I would research, honestly, like that story is very long because I still ended up trying some brands that were toxic. And at the time, I did not know that. I realized that okay, fine, we can make our own brand, our own products, and have our own brands. But I did not think of the fact that there would be toxic brands out there. So I ended up using some toxic brands that I remember my friends were telling me that I look white. I don't know if you remember, but thank you everyone for joining. Hi, Jella. Okay, so that then created an awareness like, oh, how can we now regulate this if we're making our own products, right? And we're not depending on the Western world to help us. How can we now regulate the production and establishment of these brands? Hi, okay, I accepted. Oh, she's here. I don't even know what's happening. Oh, Okay, she's trying to join, but I think okay. Let me try again. So I'm accepting your request, Mary, but I don't know what's happening. Oh, is it me? Oh God. Or Mary, can you? Is there a way I can invite you in instead of you requesting? Can we try that? Can you cancel your request? Okay. Okay, so I've invited you in. Oh, she's not there. God. Okay. What's happening? Oh my God.
Hi, I figured out that I might be able to join from the other page.
Oh, oh, okay. I don't know what was happening because I was accepting.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm not sure
God.
either. So
Thank you for
hi.
joining. Hi.
Hello. Hi. I'm so sorry, my lighting is not so great. I thought it was going
It's
to be
fine. We
better
can
than this.
see you. We can
That's the most important
still
thing.
see you.
Yes,
Okay.
and the conversation can still
All
go
right.
on. Most important thing.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for joining. Thank you so, so much. So let's
You're
just start.
welcome.
So I was saying that I wanted you to be the first person to have this conversation with because I remember when you sent your response to the article and I was reading your response and I was like, oh my God, like she's so enthusiastic and passionate about this that if I'm ever going to do this, she has to be the first person. So that's what I was telling them. So let's just let's just start. And I want us to go back to the basics and talk about the differences in skin composition. Like, why is our own skin colored versus non-Africans or white people? I don't want to use that term, but let's start from there.
Okay. So there are people that have different races. So funny enough, skin composition is actually skin color composition. I have an article on LinkedIn that is about biological anthropology. So I think that's what it's called. That's not actually what it's called, but the the title of the article, I wrote it a while ago, so I'm actually trying to remember the name. I can't believe I didn't look at it before now. So the title of the article is "Were We All Black Before?" Something like that. So
Oh,
basically, um, scientists believe that life started in Africa. So, I mean, there are different creation stories everywhere.
yes.
However, scientists believe that life started in Africa, and then as time went on, people started migrating to different parts of the world, right? So, if you look at NASA has a map of UV radiation. So if you look at the places where the UV radiation is the most, you'd notice
Mm-hmm.
that the people there have darker skin, and if you look at where it is
Okay.
least, you notice that people there have lighter skin. So it's mostly a so skin color. It's mostly a result of adaptation to UV light, basically.
Wow.
Um, so, um, everyone has melanin in their skin except people who don't have melanin in their skin completely.
Okay.
So everyone has melanin in their skin. However, the melanin composition is different. So we have more eumelanin than pheomelanin, and then Caucasians would have more pheomelanin than eumelanin. And then, I mean, different parts of people from different ethnic regions would have different compositions. However, we all have melanin. We all have the same amount of melanocytes in our system, and we all have the same layers of skin. However, it's different in structure. Some, like African skin is thicker than non-African skin. Another thing we also need to consider is how skin reacts to climate conditions. So because we are in a hot, humid condition, environment, basically climate, we would have our skin would react to the climate changes differently, and so we would need different types of products to have optimal results in our skincare journey, basically. So for example, we see that people in, like, Africans generally, because of our climate, we are more predisposed to dry skin. So you see people who have ashy dry skin in Africa as a result of high transepidermal water loss. So we notice that there's a lot of evaporation from the skin, right? So how do we solve that with product development? We develop products that are more occlusive, or products that can penetrate the skin more.
Wait, we're still going there.
Oh yes, I've gone too far. I'm so sorry. I've gone too far. I'm really sorry. But basically, I think I've mentioned the difference.
Yeah. Okay, so you actually started answering my second question. I was going to ask how that affects the type of skin concerns that we have. And you mentioned dry skin.
Yes.
I know that so things like hyperpigmentation and
yes, exactly. Okay, no, please ask a question. Let me not go ahead of you.
So what other skin concerns are like peculiar or pertaining to us because of our skin composition, color composition?
It's more of hyperpigmentation and dry skin. I mean, there are other. So from research, I have noticed that I'm not going to say people that are black skin or like African skin people, or what's the word? I don't want to use a word that's not widely accepted. Anyways, so a lot of people that are dark skin can be predisposed to melanoma, and that's because there's not enough education on usage of sunscreens or UV protection, and that is basically an education gap problem, I think. I believe so, actually. And then because of this, even though these people don't always show signs of melanoma early, they would their rates of melanoma would be more fatal than those of Caucasians who already have a history of using sun products. So it's mostly hyperpigmentation, dry skin. Those are the major issues that Black people actually face with skincare. I mean, also there are different types of hyperpigmentation. The hyperpigmentation caused by different things. So yes, there's also acne. Yes, how could I have forgotten our best friend?
Okay, thank you. So another thing I wanted to touch on is in Nigeria, I don't know about other African countries, but in Nigeria, we have this thing where some brands would classify skin color like light skin, half caste, caramel skin, ebony skin. I don't know what other terms that they use. Are those classifications right? Are those classifications right? Are they?
Absolutely not. So there's really no need for those classifications at all. In fact, those classifications can be very misleading to think that
Yeah.
someone who, so for example, you want to have a certain type of skin, and then you get to use a certain type, like products are not formulated in that way. We don't formulate
Yeah.
products in the lab and say, oh, we are using this for half caste people, or we are using this for, not at all. Not, that's not how product development works. I think at best that might be a scam approach to get people to. So let's start from the beginning. So let's start
Okay.
from the fact that there is a, what's it called? The thing where people prioritize light skinned people than dark skinned people. What's it called again? I can't remember what it's called. It's an actual name. So
Oh.
people prioritize light skinned people. Like Africans, there's a Eurocentric standard with beauty. So where light skinned people are
Okay.
perceived to be more attractive than dark skinned people. So we've grown up to have that image. So from when I was younger, I knew that in magazines or in adverts, you see Lock soap and they would use this very fair girl, or something like this. The advert would go like this: the girl would be dark, and then she would use the product, and then she would be fair. So that transition now made it look like her skin was bad before, and then when she
Yeah, make it better.
when she used the product, then it made her skin lighter and better. So those were the Eurocentric in magazines, and that pushed a lot of people into a lot of depressive states, a lot of bleaching. We see that Nigeria even has the highest, as at 2022, I think 77% of Nigerians, I think Nigeria had the highest rate of bleaching in the world, which was around 77%,
Yeah.
which is pretty high. So these things are actually standards that have been created by the media. So we now see people people wanting to have lighter skin, maybe like half cut skin, like Caucasian skin, when what they're actually doing is actually destroying their skin. So people in the beat, like, skincare is business, to be honest. Beauty business is actually business. Let's forget that we are passionate about it. It's actually business. And the thing about business and marketing is that you would always find people that want to rip you off your money, there's fear-mongering marketing. We have people who want to have the fastest route to make money. And then if I can tell you that, if I can prove to you that having a lighter skin, or if I can prove to you that I can give you a product that would make you have lighter skin, and I call it half-caste product, or call it ebony, or to maintain there's so many things that people call it. It's all a scam approach. And it's not in my opinion, it's actually fact. It's all a scam approach. And that's not how products are formulated in the lab. At least that's not how product development works in any qualified standard laboratory.
Every time I see it, I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like, what is going on? And like, some of these brands are not even hiding anymore, especially with how they are making their products. Like, you
Yes.
see, I don't know if you've seen all these viral videos of, they call it pro-mixing, where they mix already made products with natural ingredients, and then they say it's natural. So when you see things like that, like, what can go wrong when formulation is done in the wrong way like that? What can go wrong with the product, with people using it?
I cannot begin to explain how terrible that is. So let's start from the fact that you are exposing a lot of people's skin to microbial growth. So first of all, it is very unsafe. Secondly, what people don't realize is that raw materials that are used in skincare production are actually chemicals. So these chemicals actually mix together to form other products. It's like when we do regular chemistry, H plus O equal to H2, basically, right? So if you use a certain ingredient and use another ingredient together, they would actually form something. You might not see it in, so because it's not an explosive reaction doesn't make it bad, doesn't make it good. Because you don't see something exploding, or because you don't see smoke, doesn't make it actually good. We've seen products in the lab that can cause your skin to actually oxidize faster. There's so many bad things that can actually happen when you mix different products together that are not supposed to be mixed together. The ingredients in one product can cause degradation of the ingredients in another product. Something else that can happen is that the two ingredients may not be compatible, which is actually the same thing I said before. So when we are producing in the lab, we're also talking about when we are choosing ingredients or raw materials for product development, we're also looking at ingredient compatibility, because raw materials have to be compatible with each other to actually form a product. So I cannot pick a certain raw material and then another certain one, and then they don't mix together, and then one causes oxidation of another one, and you see the products turning brown, or you see the product turning orange in the middle of your use. Or if you've seen those products where they separate into biphases in the middle of the shelf life, there's something not compatible. There's a whole lot of work that goes into product development that it is an insult to actually pro-mix it, to be very honest. It's just like it's like there's like product development. So because I work in product development full time, I know that product development takes six months. So the least project I've worked on has taken 4 to 6 months, and that's the least. We can work on projects for as long as 1 year. We can work, and sometimes it's a logistics issue. We can't get raw materials on time. So, but product development actually takes a while. Stability testing actually takes a while. Microbial testing actually takes a while. Preservative efficacy testing takes a while. So when we put in that effort to actually make a product, and then the product is stable on its own, now taking it to mix with another product actually disturbs the stability of that product. So aside from doing the product, aside from making a bad product, you're also harming the person's skin, because now you don't even know the ingredients that are in the new products. You don't know how they've mixed together. You don't know the chemical reaction. You don't know how it's going to affect the person's skin. You don't know if it's stable. In fact, it's most likely not stable. And what happens is that when a product is not stable, it is prone to microbial growth. So microbes are definitely going to grow in that product. And then what people don't realize about microbial growth is that it's actually very harmful. Let's forget the fact that a lot of people don't die from skincare infections, but this is something that can actually happen. This is something that has happened and can actually happen. So let's assume it's an eye product, and then it gets to the person's eyes, and then there's microbial growth. Like there's a huge risk involved that this shouldn't be done in any sane environment, to be honest. Product development is such an important and a very crucial part of skincare, a very crucial part of like beauty, that it shouldn't be taken lightly. It shouldn't actually be taken lightly. People go to school and have actual degrees for this, and you can't just come up and mix it. Exactly. So there's so many things involved. So yes, please, mixing is bad.
But the education gap is so wide, because if people actually take time to even research, just normal Google research on all these type of things, this type of products, you would know that you shouldn't put them on your skin. The same way you research what you want to eat, the same thing is the way you should research what you put in your skin. And apart from education gap, what other gaps do you think exist in formulation in beauty brands, not just these toxic brands, but brands in general? Have you noticed any other gap apart from education gap?
It's mostly the education gap, to be honest. And I think something that happens is that every business owner thinks that they have to formulate. I think that's also an education gap that we need to fill. You don't have to formulate as a business owner. I feel like that's what I realized when I was running my skincare line. So my 9 to 5 now is product development, R&D, innovation, blah blah blah, whatever I do in the lab, right? I don't run my skincare business anymore. This is why I realized that my passion was mostly with formulating, and that was my strong point. My strong point is not marketing, it's
Okay.
not advertising, it's not social media management, it's none of those things. And I'm not even going to lie to
Yeah.
anyone, it's really none of those things. So as a business owner, you're in beauty business for business, right? If you really don't know how to formulate, you don't necessarily need to formulate. There are so many ways that you can get stable formulations and take to the market and focus on other aspects of
Okay,
your
yeah.
business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's private label, there's white label, there's we have a service at Inveo called semi-custom formulating, where we already have formulas and then you can just tweak them. There's also custom formulation. So there are different routes that you can actually use to introduce products to the market without actually formulating. And what this does, what formulating does, what's putting yourself in that box of formulating does, is that you now have to, first of all, you have to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of time, honestly, because I can't explain how much time is in R&D and research
Yeah.
that you have to spend, time that you would have spent marketing and actually building your business.
Focus on
So
your
something,
strong points.
exactly. So something I would advise business owners in Africa to do is actually invest more into hiring chemists, invest more into hiring labs that can actually formulate your product for you. That's going to be a huge game changer, because you are going to be, so this actually helps you to put better products onto the market. And overall, if you have better products, you have a better chance of marketing them better, even though bad products can be marketed amazingly. But yes, so
Oh my God. And that's so true, because if you look at some of these brands, they usually have a team of chemists or
yes,
formulators, and they are not usually the ones that own the brand. And I feel like, let me say Nigerians, we can be like, oh, what if this person steals my, I don't know, my product, or steals my recipe, or things like
yes.
that. Have
So
you heard
those
that
type of things,
before?
yes, I have, to be honest. I even had a conversation with someone recently. So those type of things are, I think that, to be very honest, I don't know if this is it's not a Nigerian mentality. It's not an African
Mm,
mentality. It's something that everyone says and everyone actually puts processes to avoid. So I work with a lot of international brands. In fact, I don't work with a lot of Nigerian brands. I work with a lot of international
mm.
brands. So I've worked with brands in the US, in Canada, in the UK, in Ghana, a couple of other places. Basically, I can't just
Wow.
put my head to it now. So I've worked in brands in these locations, and I've noticed that I've not had any issue with someone saying, "Oh, what if you steal our formula?" It's just, "Oh, we have an NDA and we signed the NDA, and everybody trusts that everyone keeps
Mm.
their own part of the deal." But then the truth is
Wow.
that because of how I don't know how to say this, that it will not hurt anybody, because of how Nigeria is structured, and because there are certain times you push some things in the courtroom and then it doesn't fly, or there are certain,
Mm.
a lot of, it's not that, it's that a lot of people don't have the knowledge that NDAs are actually binding,
Okay.
or like
Yeah.
you can actually have a legal structure to your business, which is what a lot of business people don't know, especially in Nigeria. Beauty business owners, I know that a lot of beauty business owners don't put legal structures in their business. In fact, I know that a lot of beauty business owners don't have a lot of beauty, they don't have structure within their business. So that is also a fault, because they don't have structure within their business. They are not able to control things like have like legal documents, have other structural documents that can actually help their business grow, right? So this is now
Mm-hmm.
a problem with Nigerians. Oh, okay, so what if you steal my formula? That is
Mm.
why we have an NDA. That is why the NDA actually has, that's why there's a confidentiality clause. That is why there's, oh, what happens when you break the clause? What happens when you break the rules? Do you get, there are so many, it's not,
Yes.
it's not something that, I mean, it's not something that is, I don't see it as a problem. I don't see it as a problem
Yeah.
because I really don't see
Part
it
of
as a problem.
structure. It's part
Yes, I don't see it
of
as a problem.
structure. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
It's
agree.
actually part of structure.
Yeah, and you touched my next question because I was going to ask how like brands can position themselves, and I think structure is a major part of it
Yes,
because
definitely.
business structure, knowing your own strong points so that you don't go and put yourself as the formulator when you're not actually a good formulator, and putting proper
Exactly.
legal structure in place, strategies, marketing strategies.
Hmm.
And so I think, do you want to add anything? How brands can position themselves in competing
And
globally and put it that way?
honestly, structure will be the best. So structure, strategy, culture, um,
Yeah.
putting a good structure for your business actually helps, to be honest. Putting a good structure for your business helps you to scale. If you're not able to put structure in your business, then you're not able to scale it. If you can't, if you don't have, so for example, um, it's the same thing with product development, right? if I
Okay.
make if I haphazardly make a formulation, so there's this thing people that do DIY do, that they have 2 spoons of baking soda, 3 spoons of avocado oil, 2 pints of salt.
Oh, really?
It's literally like a cooking book recipe, and I don't even advise cooking book recipes to be written that way. So if I do that, how am I supposed to scale the formulation? How about if I make, so I'm now making
Mm,
30 meals of that.
so that's
How about when I
50.
want to
Yeah.
make 300 meals or 300 grams or 1 kg, or how do I scale that? There's no proper structure in writing that formulation. So that formulation is not scalable. The same thing with every
Mhm.
business. Every business has to have a proper structure so it can be scalable. How do we
Yeah.
distribute? How do we formulate? Who formulates for us? Um, how do we advertise? What is our branding? All these things have to be put in place so that they can actually play on a global scale. And this is what, so I've seen a lot of Nigerian brands. In fact, recently I've had a couple of Nigerian brands come to me and they're serious about playing in the global scale. And they're like, oh, we want to do this so that we can actually appear more globally. And I really recommend, like, I really love that, because I feel like A Beauty has come to a place where we can actually compete in the global scale. We have we have so many resources in Africa um, that can actually be harnessed, and what's the word? Um, I don't know
Scaled,
what.
exported.
Yes, that can actually be harnessed and then used for products, basically,
Yeah.
and then can actually be
Okay.
exported. So A
Yeah.
Beauty is the next big thing, and honestly, I'm in for it. I hope that made sense. It made sense in my
Yes,
head.
it does. It does. It does. And one thing about exporting is I know that I'm not too knowledge about it, but I know that if you want to move to somewhere like the US, you have to go to certain trials like with FDA and things like that. And I don't know how many brands here conduct clinical trials when they make products. Like you said, the least amount of time it took for you to make some products was like 4 to 6 months. So, how important is it to conduct clinical trials, especially when you're testing on people of color? And even over there, like you see them say they are making sunscreen and there's no white cast, and then a dark person puts it on their skin and she looks like she rubbed white powder on her face. So, how important is it to conduct clinical trials on products that you're making for people of color?
Okay, so trials are very important. Not maybe not necessarily. So the term clinical trials would be most suited for prescription products. However, they're
Okay.
also using cosmetics as well. So it's more of consumer perception tests.
Okay.
Um, what's it called again? There's another name it's called. I can't remember at the moment, basically. So um, you definitely have to conduct some sort of consumer panel test on your product. So, for example, you mentioned sunscreens, right? Sunscreen should definitely be tested. So what happens is that the products are tested on the primary consumers. So that is the
Okay.
upper hand that we have in Africa. We actually have a continent full of people that look like us. So we are able to
Yeah.
actually make products and
Yeah.
test them
On.
on
Yeah.
people that look like us, because we will now be the primary consumers, and then people outside Nigeria who are our skin color will now benefit from that. So I know that, and I'm very sure that Africa should be at the forefront of research for products for African or ethnic
Yeah.
skin, basically.
Yeah.
Because where will be a better place to find a
I
continent
mean,
full of Africans that have
like,
different skin types, that have different that have different I'm going to say tastes in products than in Africa itself. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Africa should be at the forefront of research and product development when it comes to ethnic skin. So not just not just like products for Africans living in Africa, but also for products for Africans living in the diaspora,
living in the,
because
yeah. Yeah.
we have the upper hand, honestly. And you also mentioned, can you go back to your question? I mentioned the first thing you said before the sunscreen one.
Oh, I was just asking how important is it to
Okay, for
conduct
clinical
this type
trials.
of trial? Yeah.
Okay, yes. And something I also realized from research is that if you take a look at a lot of peer-reviewed document research papers and stuff, you'd realize that most of the actives that are used in modern day skincare haven't actually been tested on a lot of Africans, if you'd notice. So if you read a lot of research, you'd see this product has been tested on 20 Asians, this product has been tested on 20 Caucasians, or 100 people from this part of the world. It's not really done on Black people, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
the thing is that we know that these products work, but then to what extent do they work, right? What are the downsides? Can we have better products? Can we have better ingredients? Can we have better formulation styles, basically, using this product? So this is actually the whole point of, so in this case, you could actually call them clinical trials. This is actually the whole point of testing products on African skin. It's very, very, very important. It is really important to test, especially ingredients that have been developed on African skin. So we actually know how these ingredients work and how they work to clear issues like hyperpigmentation or acne,
Yes.
or
Okay.
yes, or dryness, or whatever skin concerns are most prone to people in our region. So yes, it's really, really important, and more brands should actually do that. More brands should focus on, and the thing is that a lot of brands actually don't have the infrastructure, first of all, the money to put into research. So this is why cosmetic chemists and people who have like R&D labs should actually focus on research. So something we're doing at Inveo is actually focusing heavily on research. We're researching into ingredients from Africa and how they actually react to skin. We're doing a lot of clinical trials behind the scenes. We are actually we're doing a lot of consumer perception studies on products that already exist, as opposed to products that we plan on formulating. So we're actually working behind the scenes to actually I say actually a lot. We're working behind the scenes to make sure that we have products that are tailored specifically to African skin, not just in Africa, but then also in the diaspora. And then also not just even African skin, to be honest. So because we know how to formulate, it's called, so we don't even call it cosmetic science in the lab. We actually call it formulation science, because we formulate all sorts of things in the lab, right? So because we know how to formulate, we can formulate for any and every ethnic group, every type of skin, right? As long as we know what you want in your product, as long as we know what the product is about, we can definitely formulate. We formulated for Caucasian skin, we formulated for Asian skin before in our lab. So it's not like we only formulate for African skin. However, because we are in Africa and our focus is to how do we make this market better? How do we make products that are actually tailored to these people's skins? That's what we're most passionate about. So yeah, we actually formulate for everyone, and you can for everyone around the globe. It's not just in Africa. But
Yeah,
our main
that's
focus
cool.
is our main focus is for African skin, not just in Africa, but also around the globe. And we're also going heavily into data because we need the data to actually formulate best.
Yeah,
So yes, these are.
yeah.
It's just like I think I've said too much. Okay, bye.
No, that's actually the goal, right? To make sure that Africans are covered, and then you export the knowledge out around the globe.
Exactly.
So, I wanted to talk about. So I recently learned that the ingredients that are peculiar to us here, like our black soap, moringa, and things like that, right? Is it they call them culturally relevant ingredients? I just learned that word, and I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay. So, and if you look at it, actually, Asians have their own ingredients that you would see. I think rice water is very, very common in Asia. So, things. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it necessary to uh, include them in formulation? Like there are some Africans that must use black soap. Like there's nothing that
Yeah.
you want to give them. They want black soap. And I've heard a lot of mixed comments about black soap. So is it necessary to include culturally relevant ingredients when you're formulating?
Is
Like
it
must that be our only thing?
is it
Must black soap be
necessary? Yeah.
to include? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes.
No, please, okay. Are
Are
you
you saying
sure?
yes?
No,
Yes.
so no, I'm not saying yes.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
necessary. It's not necessary. It's great. To be very honest, it is 100% great. I love it because we are so there's something I was doing today in the afternoon. I was looking at an article on cultural practices like ancient skincare, ancient African skincare cultural practices, basically. So
Okay.
I feel that for us to there's this saying, I'm going to say a lot of things. So there's this Ghanaian saying, I think it's not a saying, it's a symbol. It's called the Sankofa symbol, right? I think the last time I checked, it means that to go to the future, we have to refer to the past. I think that
Okay.
I'm very sure that a lot of so modern medicine is as a result of past cultural practices that have been improved upon. So for us to actually harness real A beauty, so we see K beauty being popularized so much because K beauty is actually just ancient Korean rituals, like skincare rituals, that have been modernized,
Yeah.
that have been modernized basically,
Improved
and
upon.
from exactly. So, if we really want to harness into proper A beauty, we should do the same. So we shouldn't just pick up K beauty practices. We should pick up A beauty practices because I don't believe
Yeah.
that our ancestors were fools, to be honest. I believe that there were things that they actually did to make their skin look better. And then how about we actually know, okay, so for example, there's this thing when I was younger, I don't know if you know scent leaf. I don't know what,
Yeah.
I think it's called scent leaf in English. I don't know what it's called in my language. It's called what's it called? In my language, it's called ntong, actually. I can't remember what it's called in Igbo. But scent leaf, when I was younger and I had an injury, my mom would put scent leaf, she would just squeeze it on the injury, and you would see that it would miraculously get healed.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
if you notice, it would actually heal in a couple of days. So I was thinking about it today when I was looking at African cultural ancient things. I was thinking, okay, so how about we figure out what in the sense we've actually made a heal, and how can we extract that? How can we grow it in the lab, and how can we use it in products? So this is now how we're thinking. Okay, let's get this chemical from this moringa, or let's get the what exactly in shea butter actually helps us to have moisturized skin, or can we improve on shea butter, or can we improve on scent leaf, or can we improve on moringa? How do we make extracts from these that can actually be used in our products and can also be exported? How can we actually make our own ingredients that can be widely used? So we see that Korean ingredients are widely used around the world now because they've been modernized upon. We see raw material companies actually doing some sort of synthesis to make sure that these ingredients are harnessed from plants or from the environment, wherever they are harnessing them from, and then they are being used in modern day products. So how does Africa contribute to that? So as much as it's not necessary for us to have those ingredients in our products, it would be really great for us to harness the real. There's so much in Africa that we are not harnessing. There's a like we are so first of all, both of us are Nigerians, right? But there's 53 other countries, literally, and then each of those countries have different things that are unique to them. So how do we harness from every single person, and then how do we put it on a global scale? How do we say this is our beauty, and then we're proud of it, and then we've modernized upon it? It's like Wakanda. Just imagine. So basically something like that. And I think it will be really
I honestly love the answer. Yes, it would, because that's that's what makes K beauty stand out. So it would be like you said, A beauty practices. Like that. I honestly love your answer. Like I was dancing. So like last two questions before we go. So I want to ask, as a person of color, like an individual, what is one thing, if you can think of one, I know that there are lots, one thing that is essential in our skincare routine that we should take note of? I feel like I know your answer.
Oh my god, the funny part is that I have a lot of things. If I would mention one thing that we should take note of,
yes,
so
in our routine, one or two. If you can't mention just one,
I think I would mention a group of products, like a type of ingredients, not like necessarily one thing. So I have to mention three, but if I mention three, it's like almost the same thing. So humectants, occlusives, and ceramides. So because of how African skin is, and also because of the climate, God, Lord Jesus.
Let's not go there.
Yes, humectants are really essential in our skincare routine. So in our skincare routine and also in our hair care routine, I think water is also really good on the hair. I don't think oil really works on hair. But I can formulate hair products really well. I'm just not an expert with hair science. Like not hair science, but practical hair. I'd rather ask a hairdresser to give me that information on how products react to hair. But then the formulation aspects, yes, we're absolutely good with it. But then with skin, humectants would work perfectly. I think humectants are one thing that I would love everyone to put in their routine as people of color. Ceramides are my favorite thing ever. I think that people should use more ceramides in their products. I don't have a concrete answer to why that is. I just know that, okay, so I obviously know why. But I have this product that I created, which is not commercial at the moment. It's something that I make every time during Harmattan, and my friends love me for it. So it's this dry skin cream. It has urea, and it has ceramides, and it has a lot of humectants. and it has a lot of occlusives. It's like the perfect blend for Harmattan. So it basically has everything there that would help your skin during Harmattan. And my friends have loved me for it for how many? For a couple of years, but they keep on coming back. And yes, I think if people should, as people of color, black people, we should actually include humectants, occlusives, and ceramides in our routines more. And also products for hyperpigmentation. So yeah, the problem with products for hyperpigmentation is that if we start now, we will not finish. So that's the issue. If we actually start now, we will never finish because there's so many products for hyperpigmentation. I also believe that there's also not enough products for hyperpigmentation. There's not a lot of studies on hyperpigmentation for ethnic skin. There's a lot more that we have to do. So this is why you shouldn't live in Nigeria, because they will take the lights. We don't have constant electricity.
So sorry.
No, it's fine.
Don't worry, we understand. We understand.
But I'm sure everyone can still hear me.
Yes, we can. And we're rounding up now.
Okay,
so
that's great.
It's fine. Okay.
That's amazing. Okay, so yeah, that's actually basically it. There's still a whole lot of research that we need to do concerning hyperpigmentation that I think we are not doing.
Okay, I agree actually. Okay. Okay, so just to round up, do you have any advice for upcoming formulators or brand owners? You've honestly said a lot, but just maybe just one more thing, that people that want to start their own brands or create products.
Okay, so first of all, if you want to start your own brand and you're not a cosmetic chemist or you have no interest in formulation, I do not advise you to do it. I think it would be an absolute waste of your time and you will bring in subpar products into the market. I would advise you to consult with a chemist, actually.
Yeah.
Do well to consult with a chemist, do well to hire a chemist, or yeah, that's actually basically what I advise you to do. I advise that you focus more on marketing and distribution of your products, because that would give you, and also putting structure into your business. If you are a chemist and you're starting out, I would advise that you go for proper education, because the education gap is so wide. And what you can do first of all is that if you're a student, you can try pursuing a chemistry degree, not necessarily like a chemistry degree. So you can pursue chemistry, industrial chemistry, physics, biotech, biochem, chemical engineering. There's so many degrees that you can actually, that would give you a basics to that'll give you basic science knowledge basically. And then if you want to go ahead, you can pursue a master's in cosmetic science, or you can get an internship. So we're currently opening our doors for interns actually really soon. But yeah, it's not open at the moment. It is, you can actually apply. So yeah, anyone can actually apply to that. We also have, there are also cases where you can have courses. So you can have continuing education, I think that's what they're called, continuing education courses, like adult courses, right? So there are online courses. There's universities that have online courses. Like University of Toledo just included an online master's for their cosmetic science program. We have Cincinnati also has one. The other schools in the US, they might be expensive because then you have to travel and all. But there's also Manhattan University. There's a couple of universities. There's a whole lot. There's Freddie Dixon, I think. There's another school that has that just has an online program. I can't remember it. I can't remember the name. Maybe if I find out, I'll let you know, and then you can put it up. So there's so many schools. There's also the SCC. The SCC has courses. If you live in Nigeria, you should also join NICOS. NICOS also has short courses that are coming up very soon.
Wow.
Yes, so I belong to the Education and Learning Committee in NICOS, and I reckon that we have short courses coming soon. But for now,
Okay.
we do have webinars coming soon. So if you register for NICOS, if you're a member of NICOS, you get access to those webinars for free. And then there's also a NICOS event at the end of every year. You can get to talk and network with other cosmetic chemists. There's a whole lot. There are short courses. So we have courses that are coming from Inveo Labs soon. We actually we want to prioritize education at Inveo Labs. So we have courses that are coming in very soon. These courses are going to be 100% structured. It's going to be like a school. It's an actual school. That's why we haven't launched anything yet. So there's a whole lot, and in those courses, we're not just covering skincare. We're covering actual formulation science, not just cosmetic science formulations. How to actually formulate like a chemist, like from scratch. We're also covering things like color cosmetics. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's so many ways that you can learn. If it's okay with you, and some people need like advice on how to go around formulation, so they can actually reach out to us. We can recommend some schools for them, or we can actually give you the information to put it out. There are also pages you can follow. Oh my god, the information is so much in my head. There's the IMWSCC. They have a lot of educational content. University of Toledo has a lot of educational content. The SCC also has a lot of educational content. NICOS has a lot of educational content as well on their page. You can purchase. I have a lot of books. I cannot begin to explain how many books I have. I have multiple folders of books. You'd have to do a lot of reading. It's an extensive learning process, but it's something that can be done.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
That was very, very extensive. Thank you so much. So we have come to the end of the live. Thank you so much for joining. This was so insightful. Like, I've learned a lot, and I believe people that are here to have gained a lot. And we cannot wait to see what the future holds for the industry. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. Once again, I really apologize for the power outage. It happens.
Oh, no. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I came on this live. It was really fun. It was really educative. I learned a lot, and I hope everyone here learned a lot as well.
Thank you. Yes, I'm sure they did. We all did. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
All right, have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Have a good night, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I love you guys, and it means a lot to me that you joined. And I'm glad you learned a lot. Thank you, Mara. Thank you, Ochi. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to end the live now. Bye. Join us for the next conversation. I'm going to post more details about it soon, by God's grace. Bye.